Hi and welcome back to another video from AI Sciences on shallow and deep copy. So shallow and deep copy is quite a delicate subject, and most of the time when beginners start learning any programming language, regardless whether it's Python or any language, they usually stumble upon the concept of shallow and deep copy, and they usually confuses it that what actually shallow copy and what actually deep copy is. So in this video, I will be explaining you about the shallow copy and the deep copy and how we can actually play around with that. So before going through this notebook, let me just take you to the slides and explain you the concept of shallow copy and the deep copy. So over here, first thing, the shallow copy. So let's say we have a list, list 1, and we have some data in it like 1, 2, 3. So this data would practically be present inside some memory location, inside some RAM or any sort of storage. The data should be present physically in something. So let's say this is the box which is actually representing the data, the physical data. So the list 1 equals to 1, 2, 3. So the data is present over here. Now this statement is where the shallow copy is happening. Now if I go for list 2 equals to list 1, which means I'm assigning list 1 to list 2. Now notice here, both list 1 and list 2 are actually referring to same memory location. So that means that if I may add 4 inside this data, it will be reflected to both list 1 and list 2. So if I go for list 1 dot append and I add 4 in the existing data, so it will be reflected for the list 1 and it will also be reflected for the list 2, as both of them are referring to the same memory location. And if I go for list 2 and try changing something like list 2 dot remove a number, that number will be removed from list 1 as well, because again they both are referring to same memory location. And this is a problem, that if you have assigned a variable, if you have assigned actually a data structure, a list, a dictionary to any other variable, to any other object, and you make changes to one of them, it will eventually be reflected back to the other one also. So that's a kind of an issue. Next thing is the solution for that, which is deep copy. Now let's say we have a list, we have a data, we have actually a space in which our data is present. Now when we are going for list 2 equals to list 1 dot copy, we are using this dot copy function. What this will do, it will actually create a deep copy of list 1 inside this list 2. Now the list 1 has its own personal memory, list 2 has its own memory. Now if I go for list 1 dot append 4, that will only be appended inside this box, inside this memory location. And if I go for list 2 dot append anything or remove anything, that will only happen inside this blocks, and it won't affect the list 1, and making changes in list 1 won't affect list 2. So this is the major difference between shallow copy and deep copy. I'm not going through the actual working that what's happening under the hood, that how it is doing the deep copy stuff, and usually we really don't consider that. The only thing to understand over here is that the difference between shallow copy and the deep copy. So if we go for the slides now, if we go for the notebook now, so let's say we have a list over here and we created a list and then we are just printing it. Then we are doing a shallow copy, list L2 equals to L1, and then when we are printing them, we are getting the same number, but the issue is they both are actually referring to same memory location. Now if I just append list 2 with 22, notice what will happen. It is being reflected, 22 is being reflected in list 1 as well. So that's an issue, right? So if we come up here, if we create another list L1, right? Let me just take it from here and paste it in the above cell. Okay. And then if we are doing L1 dot copy and copy this in L3, and then we are just printing it, so we will get the same 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. But then if we make a change in L3, notice if we are just add 22 in it, it is only reflected in this L3. It is not present inside this L1 now, because we are using copy, and as we learned here that when we use copy, it actually create two different memory locations for both the list. So this is how you work with the shallow and deep copy in the list. Next is the dictionary. So let's say we have a dictionary with the code and the country. So we have this dictionary. Then we are again doing our shallow copy. D2 equals to D1 and then we are printing it. So we are getting this stuff. Now if we just make a change to D2, notice it is being reflected in D1 and D2 both. The cutter is being added in both of them. So that's a shallow copy happening. Next thing, let's just recreate our D1 and D3 get the D1 by deep copy. So if we give it a go now and then we give it a go, we are getting these two dictionaries. But now if we add D3, if we add cutter in the D3 as we have done the deep copy, it will only be reflected in the D3 and D1 will remain as it is. See. Next is the variable. So for variables, as far as the variables are concerned, they always do the deep copy. You really don't have to do anything with that. So we declared a variable x, we assigned it value 12 and then we printed it. And over here we are doing this and then we are manipulating y value and then we are printing x and y. And notice we will get 12 and 10. So that means that the variables are by default deep copied. Next is the function. So this is an interesting thing that we have a function foo which is taking a list in it. Inside this function, it is appending a number inside the list and then it is just printing the list out. Over here we have a list with 1, 2, 3 and then we are printing that the before function, this is the list. Then we are calling this function in which we are appending 12 and then we are printing the list. And over here we are printing the list afterwards. And same is happening for the, let me just copy this from here and paste it here as well, just to get you the idea that what we are doing here. So over here and over here. Right. Now let's just give it a go. So notice it printed before function, it's 1, 2, 3. Then in the function after appending 12 we are getting 1, 2, 3, 12 and then after function our actual list is being updated, right? So to avoid that, what we can do, we can call the foo function by providing the dot copy method. Now if we give it a go, so notice the before function is 1, 2, 3. In function the 12 is being appended and we are getting 1, 2, 3, 12 and then after function we are getting L1. So that means our actual list is being maintained. There is no changes in that. So this is the overview of the shallow and the deep copy. I tried my best to give you the understanding of shallow and deep copy and provide you the annotation that what actually the difference between them. So I hope that you develop the understanding, but still if you are not getting anything or you are confused at any point, please feel free to let us know in the comment section and we will try to get back to you on that as soon as possible. Also, please do subscribe our channel AI Sciences and please hit the bell icon as well so you get the notifications of our latest videos. So I will see you in the next video.